So welcome everybody to the what's the name of the podcast?
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Tailgate Talk for episode 4. I'm Matt. We got Elmo, Dwight, Vince, and Big Sheet to talk football and fun. Our first topic today is Darkhorse Super Bowl team. Who do we think? Let us know in the comments.
I'm going to say a team that's going to surprise everybody.
Lots of Darkhorse.
I know that they may not win the Super Bowl, but I think they're going to surprise some people. And my pick today is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Okay, I like it.
Oh, good pick. I like it.
I thought you were going to say Commanders.
Because they almost beat the Eagles?
No, because Big is scared of the Commanders for some reason. I don't know.
Sam Howell has him howling in his sleep.
Yeah, Sam Howell had me losing some sleep that night, but
No. I mean, I get your pick with the Buccaneers, right? They got the defense. They got the talent on offense. If they're, they need Baker to play at a level he was drafted to play at, which I don't know if we've seen him play at in his entire career.
I think my take is going to be either Jets or Vikings. I think the Vikings, if they do, they'll squeak in through a wild card win. Jets seem like the Jets are a weird team because all that hype was around Aaron Rodgers. Everybody unanimously agreed that Zach Wilson is not the man, but he came into Arrowhead and put it on the Chiefs. So I think one of those teams would be my dark horse pick. But I think it'll be done in like a weird way.
It's going to have to be done in a weird way because the Vikings are 0-4, right?
Yeah,
They're 0-4.
It'd have to be like wild card or something weird out of left field.
It's going to have to be. They got to find a way to play defense. That's the Vikings' biggest thing. They got to find a way to play some defense. They're the team that has the talent. Their biggest issue as well, I think, is run game. Alexander Mattison is just not having the same impact as Dalvin Cook. Obviously, Dalvin Cook, I think we can all agree, is a much better player. I don't know if they make a trade for Jonathan Taylor. Maybe that's a destination spot for him.
Didn't they?
Who knows?
Didn't they trade for Cam Akers?
They did, but he hasn't really touched the ball much.
He's been injury ridden.
Too. So we're going to see that. And then you said the Jets. I mean, if they get into the playoffs, Aaron Rodgers is coming back. So, I mean,
yes,
because he said his plan was to come back this season, right? So
yeah,
we'll see. We'll see with the Jets. They definitely have the talent.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's it. They have the talent for sure to make a long run.
Yeah, I would agree with the Jets. If they can make the playoffs, then have Aaron Rodgers play through the playoffs. Or maybe the Rams.
But do the Jets become a dark horse candidate if Aaron Rodgers comes back, though? I mean, as of right now, this team, of course, because the Aaron Rodgers injury. But like, if they have A-Rod, that's not a dark horse candidate, right?
Yeah, but they have to make the playoffs first.
I think a post-surgery A-Rod makes him a dark horse.
Maybe because we don't know what he's going to come out and be. I guess that's true. But we've also seen A-Rod have plenty of injuries in his career and bounce back from them like it was nothing.
He was also 10 years younger, and it was a collarbone injury, not an Achilles.
Just 3 years ago. Was it a game against the Bears? He had some type of ankle injury, right? We thought he was done for the game. He comes back, throws 3 passing touchdowns.
The high ankle sprain where they wrapped it up and pumped him full of hydrocodone and tramadol.
Obviously a much different situation, but yeah. Yeah, exactly.
He went out back and drank some ayahuasca with some villager.
Yeah. As far as dark horse candidates go, I'm gonna go Lions.
Yeah.
I think that they have the talent on offense. I like some of the additions they added on defense. I think the Lions have maybe what it takes. I like their coaching. I think that they like to fight for their coach. If Jared Goff can keep playing in a way that he's playing, and they have a good two-headed running back monster, I feel like they can go some places this year.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was going to say either the Lions or the Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
I think are looking pretty good.
The Giants.
Yeah, I mean that's not surprising, but
no, nobody's saying
I feel like their defense is really good, and they got Geno's doing all right, and obviously Kenneth Walker is doing pretty good in that system. So I think the Seahawks have a good shot at it, and obviously like the Lions are a good dark horse team.
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing with the Seahawks, right, is that they're like Pete Carroll. He's a winning coach.
Yes.
Wherever he
He's
goes,
a Super Bowl winning coach
other
at
than the
that.
Pats, wherever he goes, they usually win. So I feel like their teams like to play for him. Geno's playing well. They also have the talent everywhere. I feel like they're probably the biggest dark horse candidate. Really thinking about it now, because I think they're probably the most balanced of the teams that we've mentioned. Maybe besides the Bucks, as long as Baker can play good for them.
But they struggled up until this week. This week they won easily just because they played the Giants. But
It's still early on in the season. They're 3-1, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah, they beat a good Lions team. They beat a good Lions team. They beat the who else they play?
Giants.
the
bad
Rams,
Giants
they
team.
lost to the Rams. Though.
That's their only losses to the Rams.
I thought they were 2-2. I guess not.
3-1.
I'm sorry, but does it not strike anybody to say? Doesn't it not feel weird? Doesn't it come off your tongue strange to say a good Lions team?
Oh, 1,000%. 1,000%. Of
Yeah,
course.
'cause this isn't like 2018 when Calvin Johnson's out there breaking records.
Even 2018, they
then
weren't
they
great.
sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. In 2018, no one said a good Lions team. They said Lions and Calvin.
Matt Stafford and Calvin. That's always been the situation with the Lions. It's always like one massive megastar and then the Lions.
Yeah. Although it's
Right.
Bears, Sanders,
They could have a good roster.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, last year we saw some parts of it. I think that they're going in the right direction as far as an organization.
I
can get behind that.
I do like their coach.
I can't think of his name. I don't want to keep saying the coach, but I can't remember his name.
Dan Campbell.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Wow.
Yeah, Dan Campbell. He says some wild stuff to get them riled up, and he gets his point across. He's intense. I like him.
But he also cares for his guys at the same time.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
Vince didn't say anything.
I said Jets and Rams, though I do like the Vikings. But
Yeah.
I mean, not the Vikings, the Lions, excuse me. But yeah, I said Jets or Rams.
The Rams is interesting to me. Because I don't know how I feel. Like the Seahawks, I feel
Well,
like...
they don't have Cooper Cup yet, though, either. Not yet.
Yeah, but Puka's making up for that production. Like, I feel like Puka's numbers will go down when Cooper comes back. But that's the thing. I don't know how much of Puka's production is this them not having Cooper Kupp versus when they have the two of them. How are they gonna manage that? You know what I mean?
Right.
I think Puka's actually like a sneaky good route runner.
Oh no,
And
absolutely.
he just gets open like all the time. That's why he gets 15 passes and catches a game.
But do you think his numbers go
Still,
down
though,
when
you
Cooper
would
Kupp's come
think
back?
without Cooper Cup,
I
they
obviously
just
think he gets
double-team
spread around.
Cooper.
I think it could, but at the same time, like they could be focusing more on Cooper Kupp, and he still gets the same amount of passes to him.
Mm-hmm. Did we list a single AFC team other than the Jets? We don't think. I'll throw out the. We had to have at least one more team. I'll throw out the Chargers. Why not?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Mike Williams.
That take is certainly for giggles because there's nobody's taking them as a dark horse. I mean, let's be honest. They're a top NFL team.
They're 1-3.
Top to bottom. But still, I mean, they're off to a rocky start. But that's a top NFL team. They have a great quarterback who's all amongst the leaders every year. They have a very solid offensive line. They have a good running back.
It's just tough because there's not too many dark horse AFC candidates, right? Like the guys that are going to be in the playoffs in the AFC are the guys that we kind of expect to be in the AFC.
Yeah, like your Bills, your Dolphins, Chiefs, obviously.
Your Chargers.
They just made the playoffs for the first time last year. I don't know how they're guaranteed. I don't know how they're guaranteed, and they're in a tough division. I don't get that.
I mean, made the playoffs for the first time because they've made the playoffs before
with Justin Herbert as their quarterback.
Okay, there you go.
Well, then the AFC South, it could be anybody. Well,
yeah,
I don't say anybody.
It really can be, and that'll be something. That'll be something we go into. Jaguars as a dark horse is not. Isn't that's not.
Like a Jaguars is kind of there, but.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the Bengals are the complete opposite of a surprise. I mean, they're a surprise team, but in the way that they don't want to be a surprise team. I think we all kind of expected them to be good, but they're playing really bad. Because Joe Burrow put that sack over his shoulder, walked out the bank like Matt said.
Mhm.
That's what it's looking like. And then
Oh,
with T. Higgins'
Yeah, we
injury,
watched me and you. This past week, it wasn't even Joe Burrow playing bad. It was his own line.
yeah, but he's had bad O
The
lines
line always
before.
plays bad.
Yeah,
though.
that's not so. That's something I can use
Yeah.
as an excuse for him. Because we've seen him succeed with a bad O line.
He went to the Super Bowl with a bad O line.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's
we
be
were
honest.
watching it.
Let's-
I don't think there were times he'd even have 2 seconds.
But that's
So,
Yeah,
coaching.
he went
Single
to
guy
Super Bowl.
being untouched.
Is it his O line or is it play calling?
I would think play calling.
Because I mean, every year Joe Mixon's a top back. How do you have 1,000-yard rusher, but your quarterback can't drop back and complete a pass? I think a lot of it has to do with play calling, and Joe Burrow has been known to hold the football. So we can't place blame completely on the offensive line here.
And I don't even think. Don't get me wrong. We were watching that thing, and he was absolutely getting pressured instantly. But I do agree. I think it's play calling. I think he's holding onto the ball longer because there's nobody for him to throw to, and maybe he's seeing guys late. Maybe that's why he's not getting the ball out quick. So maybe it is a little bit of Joe Burrow, because we've seen him have these same struggles in previous years, and he's had better production.
Maybe
I
he's
mean,
trying to live up to that
talent
contract.
to
again.
What do you say, Elmo?
Said he's still got the talent to throw to. Like his targets aren't gone. Like they're still
Absolutely. Well, T. Higgins just suffered an injury. I'm not sure how long he'll be out now, but yeah, Jamar Chase is still
there. Yeah,
there.
but even without T. Higgins, you still got Jamar Chase and you still got Tyler Boyd and Herb Smith and.
Did you see Jamar Chase in that interview he had post game?
He said he's always open.
Always effing open. Yeah, he sure did. Do you take that as a shot towards Joe Burrow or no? Or play calling, probably.
I think it's a little bit of both. I think he's trying to get a message across to Joe Burrow.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Joe Burrow, I think he's trying to live up to his contract a little bit too much. I think he's caught up in the whole, I'm getting paid X amount of money, I need to be doing this. When really he just needs to go out and do what he does. Keep doing what you did to earn that contract to begin with.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, it's Darkhorse candidates. I don't think you guys have anything else to say about that?
Uh-uh.
Oh, I'm good.
Okay, well, now we got the complete opposite of Darkhorse candidates. And, we're talking about the Bills and the Dolphins, two people that I feel like we expect to maybe be championship or at least divisional in the playoffs. We saw the Bills handedly defeat the Dolphins. We all thought it was going to be a close game. It ended up not being so. So what do you guys think? Are the Bills the new team to beat?
I think so.
Buffalo's back. Absolutely.
I don't know if they ever
Yeah,
left.
Josh Allen looks really good. And that defense looks really good. I think there's a balanced team.
Mm-hmm. I think that was the difference in the game. Honestly, I think it was the balance because the Dolphins had the number one offense. The Bills had the number two offense, right? Both amazing offenses. Both showed it. They were putting up points early on in the game. I think what the big difference was that Bills defense and the balance that they have. One thing that I actually really like about the Bills this year is that they're getting the run game involved, and that's something I haven't seen from this team in the past however many years with Josh Allen. They haven't been able to run with a running back consistently, and I feel like this year they're getting that involved.
Well, yeah, now that they got a decent running back with Cook.
I was going to say the last good running back was what? Stingley?
Stingley.
Not Stingley. What was his name?
Stingley?
What?
You mean
Singletary?
Singletary. My bad. I'm like, that doesn't sound right.
But he's been with them for a few years, and he never had amazing success at all.
Right. He's one of those guys that you mix into your offense.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like the way Houston used him on Sunday, how we had Damian Pierce as our main running back, and we mixed in Singletary after Pierce has just been kind of hitting him like a truck.
Mm-hmm.
I do think Cook brings another level to their run game. I think he's a solid 3-down back. And he showed it. He runs hard. He's quick. He can catch the ball. He can run, pretty good routes. I don't want to say he's a great value Christian McCaffrey, but he's great value. He's pretty versatile. He's kind of a jack of all trades. He's not great at one thing, but he does pretty well at a bunch of different things.
I think I don't necessarily know if it's just James Cook. I feel like the Bills are way more committed to getting the run game involved now. because they had James Cook last year and they weren't running the ball like this. I feel like it's just their commitment to wanting to run the football now instead of making Josh Allen throw for as many times as he has in the past.
Yeah, I mean, and it could be coming down to positional coaches too. Their O-line looks like they're doing a lot better with their blocking assignments. They seem like with their strength and conditioning, they've gotten better as well too. You don't see so many of those big guys with hands on hips.
Mm-hmm. I think the Bills are absolutely a top 2 team in the AFC. I said this last week. I still think it's going to run through the Chiefs until I see otherwise.
I think if Taylor Swift keeps going to those Chief games, I don't think the Chiefs even win the playoffs. For whatever reason, they're in their head about something, and they weren't like that until Taylor Swift started showing up. I think NFL and the media. Well, NFL and the media, they've been putting a lot of pressure on them with Taylor Swift being around, and I think it's starting to get to them because their play looks sloppy.
I don't know. I just think the Chiefs were like, oh, it's the Jets, and they kind of forgot they have an elite defense.
I don't know. They're looking kind of sloppy. First and foremost, what they need to do is they need to get a run. They need to get a wide receiver. They need a wide receiver one. This isn't like the past years where Patrick Mahomes has been able to make magic happen with the guys around him. This year, I would say they're at an all-time bad when it comes to the receiving core other than Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce is one dude.
I'm okay with you saying all-time bad as far as like their receiving core, but I think that Patrick Mahomes can just throw to these guys. Will it go to them to the Super Bowl? Maybe not. Maybe that's their limit. Maybe they can't make Super Bowl with them throwing to discount receivers. But I don't know what can they do really. Like who's on the market right now at receiver that you can see them going to get and trading for?
Oh, off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you. If I took a little bit of a deep dive and looked, I could probably find somebody. But it's not a matter of can Mahomes throw to these guys. Absolutely, Mahomes could throw to us 5. But the problem is those receivers are dropping the ball. They're not catching. Their route running isn't as crisp. And they're lucky that they have a guy like Patrick Mahomes back there who can improvise and run around and extend the play. Because if it was anybody else, it's game over. Imagine if it was Jameis Winston back there trying to eat freaking W's. He's gonna be.
I don't know.
He'd be throwing 50 picks.
50 touchdowns though.
No.
You sure? I don't know.
Jameis Winston is. He's more of a comedian than he is a quarterback at this point.
Jameis can sling it to both sides of the ball or both sides of the field. I don't know.
He can throw it, but he can also make you laugh a lot, and he makes a lot of mistakes. But I'm just saying, they're just dropping the passes. They're not being disciplined. It doesn't look like they're putting in the extra time, getting on the machine to catch the ball. They're not getting out there running routes. They don't look great. And it's open dudes dropping the ball too.
Right. But I don't know. Like I said, I just don't know if there's much on the market for them to go out and get. They have these younger receivers that I feel like they're expecting to have a boost. Like Kadarius Toney, they kept Kadarius Toney. He's still a young guy. He was drafted in the first round a few years ago, and they were hoping that he would make a jump. They have Sky Moore. They have MVS, a veteran, of course. I can't think of anybody else on their team right now, but they have some guys that they're just expecting to progress. Justin Ross was a guy that I thought was going to have a really good NFL career. He was an amazing college receiver, had a massive back injury, so people thought he wasn't even going to play in the NFL. I don't even know if he's been playing in games. I just know he had a really good preseason, a really good camp with them. So I don't know what's happening there.
I don't know, but they got to figure something out.
I mean, the Bears said they'll trade Claypool for a 5th round.
Oh, that might. I mean, but I don't know how good Claypool is at the moment. To be honest with you, he gives Mahomes a good tall receiver, but they have that in MVS already.
Claypool, you remember when Claypool first came out and he wasn't lazy and he seemed like he wanted to be there and play. Big Ben he'd throw it up top and he'd go up and get it. He was solid his first 1-2 years in the league. Now he's taking plays off. He's trying to talk to the ice cream man, get a hot dog, do everything but play the game. I don't know. I think maybe
he hung 4 touchdowns on the Eagles last year. You can't take that from Claypool. The
No,
guy,
I'm not.
Look at his stats on the season.
Could
His
be the
talent-
fact that he's playing with a terrible quarterback.
No, but when he was with
And-
Pittsburgh too, it wasn't. It's not just now. It's when he was his
Yeah.
last year with Pittsburgh was horrendous too.
Yeah, he started taking plays off. But you know what? I kind of think that if he does get sent somewhere like Kansas City, I think that does light a fire under his butt because now he's like, okay, I got Mahomes, I got Andy Reid. You know, I want to get paid. I need to come out here and I need to not be lazy. I think maybe it's just being in the Bears organization. I think it was. I think it was part of all the drama that was going around in Pittsburgh too. You had Juju out there dancing and trying to do TikTok. You had everything with Le'Veon Bell. Antonio Brown was making headlines. Pittsburgh was just getting a lot of bad media coverage. And, I could understand. And I'm sure it was toxic in the locker room, too. I mean, what guy would want to be part of that in their right mind? And then coming over to Chicago where you got dudes wide open and Justin Fields is resulting in turnovers, like it could just be the series of events that have happened. And I think him going to Kansas City, I think it'd be a good move for him. I think he'd step up a little bit.
I do agree that I think it probably was it was pretty toxic in Pittsburgh. I think Mapletron was a little after that all stuff though. I feel like he was with Juju, right? I think it was him and Juju as the one too. I don't think Antonio Brown was there when he got drafted. And I do agree that I think if he gets traded to a contending team, maybe he will up his play a little bit, step up, and actually want to be there. But at the same time, the Bears, right? Like there was promise for the Bears to begin the season. And I haven't seen it from him. If you want to win, you got to want to win.
You do. What I think outside looking in, there was promise. I think there might be a lot going on in the locker room we don't know about with the Bears organization.
We'll talk about the Bears in a little bit. That's one of the topics I want to talk about. But just to finish up this Dolphins, Bills thing, unless you guys have anything else to say, I think the Bills looked really good. They did lose Tre'Davious White. I don't remember. I think it was for the season. I can't remember what the injury was.
It's Achilles.
Yeah, so that's a top tier corner that they are losing. I think they can play team defense though, so they're gonna miss it. But at the same time, I don't know if it's a massive hit to them. I think the Dolphins. They still looked good on offense. They'll get Jalen Ramsey back, so the Bills will lose a corner. The Dolphins will gain a corner. I think that Bills defense is not fantastic, but if Stephon Diggs wasn't being guarded by a 5'2" corner, right, and if maybe he was being guarded by Jalen Ramsey, maybe the game's a bit more closer.
Who knows?
We'll see their second time they play later in the season.
Yes, we will.
So the question I have with the Bears, right, is not if they're bad, because they are, right? That's not the question. The question I have is, does Caleb Williams even help the franchise? Because right now they're slated to have pick number 1 and 2. They have the Panthers pick from last year because the Panthers traded up. So they'll have high odds at Caleb Williams because they're going to probably have 2 picks in the top 5. I would think one of them is going to be the number 1 pick. Does Caleb Williams and maybe Marvin Harrison or another player, whoever it may be, does those 2 pieces help the Bears franchise, or are they just a flawed franchise?
You got to put it in perspective. Does Caleb Williams want to go to the Bears? Because he can stay another year if he wants to.
I think he'd be okay with the Bears.
But I mean, he's came out and said, like, if he doesn't like the team, he's going to stay another year.
Damn.
So if the Bears have the first pick and he doesn't want to go to the Bears, he may just stay another year at USC, and then it's not Caleb Williams going first.
There's not going to be too many teams that are picking number 1 that he's going to want to go to, I would think.
Oh, yeah. No.
Like, does he expect to go to a premier program that's, coming off a Super Bowl run as a rookie, first round, number 1 overall? Like, I mean, and then the other thing is, like, let's just touch for a brace for some of our listeners who don't know why someone would make a comment like that. Dwight, you want to just weigh in for a moment? Because I've heard that, the comment was that he can actually make more money than he could as a rookie and a first-year player.
Oh, so with all the NIL deals, right? Yeah, he can get paid like a top NFL quarterback because he can be doing the same. He can be getting the same contracts now. He can be taking the same commercial deals. The only difference is he's not getting paid to play for a franchise, right? It's not that the USC is paying him to play now, but he can still be getting all that money with commercials. Like we see Wendy's commercials already. He still can get like Nike deal or whoever he's signed to with shoes. I'm sure he's signed to a brand already with all that. So there is really no rush for him to rush into an NFL team. So I guess I could understand why he wants to come back, or not. He doesn't want to, but why he would be okay going to USC for another year because he can making a ton of money.
Yeah.
To answer your question, go ahead.
I think his agent already came out and said, like, he has that option for this year. Obviously, next year he can't have that option, but like he can kind of almost, if he can see who's picking first, he can almost say, "Well, I kind of don't want to go to that team," and he can wait out and kind of just take his luck next year.
Mm-hmm.
I think to answer the question, yes, he does help. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. does help. But then I think they fall back in that cycle. Okay, we got the help, and now we're losing. I think the problem is the coaching staff. I think they need to redo the way they coach. I think they just need to refresh it all.
I think I agree with you. Well, they keep changing their coach. That's one of the biggest issues because they can't build or they can't build something that they keep rotating their coaches every single year.
Right. I think they go out and they try and get Eric Bieniemy as their head coach.
Maybe, but who's the Lions OC? I'm just bad with names right now. The Lions OC has turned that team into one of the top offenses in the league. I feel like he was getting offers to be a head coach last year. He decided to come back for Detroit because he felt like they were building something special there. If he decides, you know what, maybe I do want to try to be a head coach, I feel like that could be a good option for the Bears.
Is it not Eric Bieniemy that's in Detroit?
No, he's with Commanders.
Oh, that's right.
Is his name Brad Johnson? I can't remember the Lions OC, but yeah, he was getting offers last year to be a head coach.
I think the Bears, they'll just stay in the cycle. They'll draft solid players. They'll get a few more wins than they did the previous year, and then they fall right back off the cliff. It's happening with Justin Fields. Everyone was happy that they were getting Justin Fields when he came into the league. He showed promise. He was talented, and now look at them. They're losing all over again. And I think it starts at the top with the Bears organization.
And I don't disagree. I feel like the Justin Fields hype wasn't that he was like a Bryce Young type quarterback. With he guaranteed #1 pick. I feel like the hype with Justin Fields is he can turn into this, and this, like Anthony Richardson's hype is right now. It was more so on his potential and to see what he could become. He could become the next Michael Vick or something like that, right? That's not the hype with Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams is that franchise altering type hype. And that's my question was, does that help the Bears? And I think it does help the Bears if they have Caleb Williams and they bring in another guy. I feel like they need to fix that defense. I feel like that defense is where they're flawed.
I just think they're flawed from the top, and I think you bring in a good player like him, but I think they win a few more games than they do the previous year, and then they fall right back off the cliff.
Well, that'd be good for the Bears because they're 0-4.
Well, I don't think it makes the difference that Bears fans want to see.
Mm-hmm.
Not until they change coaches.
Well, they like I said, they keep rotating coaches. Go ahead, Vince.
I don't know about Caleb Williams. I think Marvin Harrison definitely helps him. And then, but I think the biggest weaknesses are the defense, which they try to fix.
Not going to cut you off here. Oh, well, I'm cutting you off. But did you say we? Like, are you a Bears fan now, too?
You're a Bears fan?
I said we.
Oh, okay.
I can see Marvin Harrison go to Houston with C.J. Stroud.
But they don't have a #1 pick.
They don't, but...
He's going to slide in the second round?
The weak areas are defense, which they brought in several linebackers to try to fix that. In week 1, they looked good until after halftime, but that's a different story. And then offensive line, I feel like can be better, and they kind of try to fix that too, drafting a tackle top 10. But
I mean, they have receivers. You said Marvin Harrison makes a difference, and obviously, If he lives up to the hype, then yeah, absolutely. But it's not like they don't have people for the
Yeah, they
quarterback to
have
throw
DJ
to.
Moore and Claypool,
And
but
Darnell Mooney
Claypool is.
and Cole Kmet. These are not bad
Yeah.
players.
Mm,
They all did great elsewhere.
Yeah, I think him paired with DJ Moore, who's a different type of receiver, would work well. But I don't know. I'd say Marvin Harrison helps better. Just it gives you a big body like Claypool, but with speed and route running like a DJ Moore.
Well, Claypool's got speed and route running. He's an absolute freak in nature. He just don't want to
He
be
does
there.
have speed. I agree with that. Route running, yeah, he's. I think that might just go based on what you said of him kind of being lazy, so not running routes as well as he could possibly. But
I'm interested in
I
your.
think it's the first one.
Oh, go ahead. I'm just interested in
you think
Big's
I'm
take on
what?
this.
I really don't even have a take, to be quite honest. I mean, I'm just listening, and you guys all make a lot of good points. Yeah, I don't even have a.
You don't think Caleb Williams helps the Bears? Or not? No, he's going to help the Bears. That's not. He's going to help the Bears a little bit. But does he change the course of their franchise?
I would say not right away. I mean,
Well, that's fair.
if I am the Chicago Bears, I don't know if I just kind of just maybe go in a different direction, because you don't want to ever draft a guy that doesn't want to play for your team.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's the worst thing that a team could do, is actually try to pick up a guy and force him into a system, into an organization where he's already expressing his dislike, because he sees the same thing that you and I see. He sees a bad team. He sees the team that's, basically giving up on a guy that they drafted, and committed to developing. And what goes to say that if he doesn't pan out right away, that they won't do the same thing with him. The other thing is that my final thought is that quarterback is that position that I think that it's a piece, but it's a piece that when the time is right, you want to bring in that quarterback. Because if you have a great quarterback and a so-so offense and a horrible defense, you're going nowhere. If you have a good team, like, say the Dallas Cowboys, good defense, solid offense, mediocre quarterback, you're going nowhere. So you want to make sure you're building your team in the right manner that's going to provide you with, not just the longevity that the team needs, but you need to have longevity for the quarterback position as well. So drafting a young guy, if I was the Bears, I would look at a good option, maybe a late first rounder like Lamar Jackson. Well, maybe someone at the top of the second round, and maybe invest some of those earlier picks into building that offensive line. I think the Chicago Bears has a solid O-line, but, maybe, bulking up that defensive line. They have Jaylen Brown. I believe that's his name, the excellent corner. No, Jalen Johnson. He's an excellent corner. They have a good, solid safety, but you want to build and put other pieces in place, maybe, build at the tight end areas, maybe with a second or a third or fourth round pick. You want to build that team out so that when you do add that quarterback, you have the foundation there in place so that, those guys can go. They also maybe need to stop firing coaches and try to, build.
I think they quit giving up on their quarterback after a year and a half of not getting the production
it's year
they want.
3 of Fields. It's year 3 of Fields.
They did that with Mitchell. They're doing that with him. They've done it with every quarterback they've had, where they've had a very short term to get things underway, and they get the same result every time. And I think it comes down to the coaching. They need to figure out different coaching.
The last long-term guy they had was Jay Cutler.
Yeah, Jay Cutler was the last consistent player that they held on to, and their coaching staff was different. They had Lovie Smith, and he was the only winning coach out of the Bears organization. And Lovie Smith he's not a bad coach by any means, but they're turning people over because they're not getting a quick enough change the way they want, and it comes down to their coaching.
Okay.
I agree with Big a lot. The O-line, though it's not bad, it can definitely be improved. And like I said, they kind of tried to improve it this year by drafting a tackle really high. And then, yeah, the defense, they lost guys. Again, I agree with Big again. They have a good secondary, a corner, a safety. And the thing that probably hurt them most, though, is they lost Khalil Mack. So they lost that top tier pass rusher. I don't think they have a great pass rush right now.
They messed up.
I think I agree with that, but I mean, Robert Quinn was a bad loss for them. Roquan Smith was a bad loss for them. They traded Roquan
Smith. To replace that, yeah, by bringing in Edwards and Edmonds.
But they would have paid Roquan the same amount of money they would have paid Tremaine Edmonds. They just traded Roquan for Tremaine Edmonds, basically.
They went from 6 foot to 6'5". That's all they did.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know what they're doing there. Big, my thing with that is, and I think I do agree with you. I mean, good teams would do this. They would take quarterbacks in the second round and develop them. They can't develop guys that they take in top 15. What makes you think they're going to develop guys that are taken in the second round, third round? And this draft has plenty of good quarterbacks. I think this is a quarterback heavy class. I think there's a ton of them. Deion Sanders' son has played really good this year. He might not be a first round pick.
What? Is it going to be a second round pick? It's going to be a third round pick? Where are you projecting
There might be 5 quarterbacks taking in the first round, and Shador won't be one of them.
All right. That's fair. Listen.
Top tier on what? Caleb Williams and Drake May?
Sorry, I don't know. Bo Nix is playing fantastic, but he's an older quarterback.
You know, the Bears, like you said, the Bears did, I believe made a mistake with getting rid of Roquan and investing. The middle linebacker position is a position where some teams value it and others don't. And if you're going to pay big money for a middle linebacker, you certainly better get the production you need. Those guys went out and they signed TJ, the guy that played for the Philadelphia Eagles last season. TJ
Edwards and Edmonds is who they signed, yeah.
And that's too much money wrapped up in the middle linebacker position. I can understand having a solid number one like a Tremaine Edwards. And you know what? As an Eagles fan, I love TJ. I thought he was a great addition to the team. I thought the Eagles really developed him. He was an outstanding player, but I don't know that him and Tremaine Edmonds both are worth the money.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah, they're better off Roquan.
And that money there.
The Bears have always wanted a good middle linebacker, though. There's Olacker. I'm forgetting his name right now, but who would
Singletary?
Clearly not, though. They would have paid
Singletary,
Roquan.
Roquan, Edmonds now. Like, they've always valued middle linebackers, but
no, what they did
maybe back in the day.
What they did was that they thought that they were going to, if they parted ways with Roquan Smith, they thought that they can add multiple tight linebackers for what a single linebacker would cost. And I don't know kind of what those guys' salary cap hit is, but if you're not going to replace that production, if you're getting 2 for 1, you might as well just kept the 1 and maybe spend just a little bit more, so that's my take there. And I think that when you overpay in certain positions in this league, they call it it used to be called the not for long league. Your coach is not going to be there for long. Mm-hmm. Your quarterback's not going to be there for long. And you know what? Your team's not going to be very good. So you have to really look at your salary and you have to set a budget of not just for your team with the cap, but you should be setting a budget at different positions. Hey, how much, do we value the middle back, linebacker position? And unless you're getting an exceptional player, I think you should stick with those values that you have set for that budget.
My final question is just for Elmo here. As a USC fan, obviously, and you see Caleb, he's playing amazing. I think everybody that's a non-USC fan is saying the same thing. Where do you want to see him go? Or you can say, what do you think the best fit for him is? It's whatever you decide to choose. I'm just curious in your take on this.
I mean, I don't really know kind of like what a best fit
Mhm.
kind of would be. I mean,
fine.
any organization that kind of needs a quarterback,
Well, how
I
about
feel like
this?
he can.
What team realistically can have the number 1 pick and Caleb wouldn't say no to?
I mean, I think there's actually a thing where he actually had like a little list of teams he would play for, like for sure play for. I think there was like, I mean, obviously it's like some teams that like wouldn't have the first round pick, like the Niners, and I think he even had the Raiders in there.
He had the Giants. He sounds like he really
Yeah,
wants to stay
Giants.
in Southern California. He had a bunch of the West Coast teams. He had the New York Football Giants.
Okay, I get you.
Yeah,
I want to say that it was about 5 teams. So you
I
had
wouldn't say like those teams would he fit into, but I mean, I feel like he's a good enough quarterback. I feel like he could fit into most franchises and do well.
I said this.
So I mean, that's my thing on it.
I said this when we went to the Raiders game. The Raiders, I feel like a team, and this is like the Giants. The Giants really haven't had a guy like that. I feel like the Raiders are a team that need a big name quarterback, right? They got that mystique around them. I feel like they need somebody like that. And I feel like Caleb Williams would be really good for them for that.
I do feel like Caleb Williams would do good in the Raiders. But obviously like they got weapons there and.
But I just don't know if they can out tank the Bears or the Cardinals, right? I just feel like that's going to be where it hurts them.
No.
Okay, let's talk about the AFC South. Vincent, Matt's teams currently 2-2, but so are the Titans and the Jaguars. The entire division is 2-2, and I feel like we saw this last year. It's really anybody's division to win. Who do you guys think wins the division, and how do you feel about the teams in it?
Go ahead, Vince.
Colts have done better than I thought they would, but I'm still sticking with what I said week 1. It's probably Jacksonville's to lose, but Texans has been better than I thought. So between Jacksonville and, surprised I'm saying this, Texans.
I got to go with the Texans. We continuously show positive development. I know the Steelers aren't a great team, but they've got a really good defense, and their defense was unable to rattle C.J. Stroud. T.J. Watt was unable to get a hand on C.J. Stroud. It seems like what DeMeco Ryans is bringing to the Texans organization is what we need. He has brought discipline. He's brought direction, and most importantly, all the players are bought into to his system, and I think that's very important when you're trying to lead a team. I also think CJ Stroud, he's stepping up and he's doing a lot in a leadership role as a very young guy. I think the Texans are proven to show that positive development, and I think Houston comes out on top.
You think Houston continues to be good even with all the injuries? Because it's only week 4 and they have a lot of injuries.
We do have a lot of injuries, but we did have quite a few guys come back. We had Jimmy Ward and Jalen Petrie come back. As you noticed, the Steelers, they weren't able to take many shots very deep. Our safeties, they play very heavy in the run game. They're very good when it comes to the pass game. Jalen Petrie seems like he just flies all over the field. I do think it hurts us not having Derek Stingley, but Shaq Griffin shut down George Pickens all day on Sunday. And George Pickens is one of those guys that everyone was like, hey, we need to watch him play.
He was getting thrown to by Kenny Pickett, though. I don't know.
Well, sure, he was. Yeah, it's one of those weird yes and no type deals. Because Kenny Pickett, he can obviously throw the ball. He's in the NFL. But at the same time, with the wide receiver position, Pickens wasn't even able to get open. But yeah, I think with the injuries, I think we'll be okay because it seems like every week DeMeco Ryans and the Texans they're finding players from other organizations, practice team, They're finding other players from our practice team. They're finding free agents that are kind of filling in who are already a little bit more developed to NFL speed, and they're able to kind of mold them into what they need for that week to continually develop them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we'll be okay moving forward. I think, and it goes back to what I said about the Bears. I think the Texans finally have good coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Are you saying it's Texans division hands down, like no competition?
Not hands
I
down, I
think
don't think, is what he said.
I'm not going to say hands down, but I do think if Jacksonville can clean up, I think it would come down between Jacksonville and Houston. I don't know what's going on in Tennessee. I still can't believe they still got the same damn cornerback in Ryan Tannehill. King Henry he's getting some rust on the wheels. He's starting to take a beating from how hard they have run him because he has not looked the same as he had in years prior. Something's going on in Tennessee. I think they kind of need to find their identity a little bit. I think they messed up by getting rid of AJ Brown. They did good by bringing in DeAndre Hopkins, but at the same time, Hopkins is an aging receiver, and I don't think their game is throw the ball. I think they need to get more physical guys out there that can aid in the run and change things up like that offensively. Defense, I couldn't even tell you who they have on defense.
Jeffrey Simmons.
It's solid pass rusher. It's one guy.
Amani Hooker.
Kevin Byard.
Hey, Kevin Byard's proven to be pretty good. I don't see Tennessee doing a whole lot for to take the division. I think if Jacksonville can clean up their act, I think they could overtake it because they've proven to be good. I don't think the Colts can do it. I think they're suffering heavily by not having Jonathan Taylor, even though Zach Moss has kind of stepped up and he's done his thing. But at the same time, there's a reason why Zach Moss doesn't have a bigger contract. To be quite frank, I think Houston takes it, and I think Jacksonville, if they clean up, they've got a shot at it as well.
Mm-hmm. So
yeah, I'll say, I'm sticking with Jacksonville to lose, but yeah, I say that because Colts, we have a good defense, better than I would have expected it to be this year. I will have to see what Richardson does. This past week he went down, slid a little bit more. Good to see, but that and then Jonathan Taylor. So offensively, just a lot of unknowns. And then Tennessee, I think they have an okay defense. Offensively, they live and die by Derrick Henry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Elmo. Who you got? AFC South.
I'm gonna say it's between either Texans or Jaguars. I think Tennessee's bottom, Colts obviously third. I want to say like it's going to be like almost a tiebreaker at the end of the season between the Texans and Jaguars.
Man, so
I think they kind of compete for that top. I think they go back and forth for that top spot throughout the whole year. And I want to say I do think the Texans are playing really well. I want to say they edge it out at the end of the year.
Hey.
But I think Tennessee is just a run game, and I think if they don't hand the ball off to Derrick Henry, like they lose. Like week 3, they did that. They didn't hand it off to him that much, and they just got blown out. And I think that's why they're the worst team in the division.
Well, there it is. The Houston Texans are making the playoffs because we know Elmo is a time traveler from the future. So we
I would also like to point out how well the Texans defense has been playing as well. I want to say that they're a top 5 defense right now when it comes to yards allowed.
I'm sorry, Matt. I love you, brother. I'm taking the Jacksonville Jaguars. Not because they're a better talented team. I think at this juncture, they're a better coach team. They have a Super Bowl winning coach. I think that in the major categories like quarterback. I think they check that box there, at least at this point now, because CJ Stroud's he's still a rookie, and when it comes to December and those late games, he's yet to be proven in those situations. He is yet to show that he can fight back once they're down. So I'm gonna give the edge there to quarterback to the Jaguars. Defensively, right now, I believe that the Texans are the better defensive team, so I will give them the edge there. But fundamentally, I think that it's going to be tough, but it's going to come down to that experience and the coaching. And I think right now that Doug Peterson and his team has the edge there.
So here's my feeling about the AFC South. I'm start with the Colts because I think they are the worst team in the division. And it's going to be because of Anthony Richardson, weirdly enough. They are 0-2 when he starts the full game.
I agree.
And I think we need to see his progression throughout the season. I think that their defense might be one of the best in the division, honestly. I think they have the pieces on that defense, which is crazy enough. Honestly, I'm just going to say Jonathan Taylor's not coming back. I'm looking at it like that. I just don't know if Zach Moss and Anthony Richardson are going to be able to win you enough games to make the playoffs. Or even win the division, which it would make the playoffs, I guess. I'm not very confident in that offense. Not that I don't believe in Shane Steichen. I think that his offenses have generally been pretty good. And I'm just not sure how Ant's going to progress throughout the season. I think the Titans are a bad team, but I think they are also really well coached. I think Mike Vrabel's been one of the best coaches in the league since he became a head coach with the Titans, which maybe is crazy. You guys got to tell me. I feel like his teams are always fighting for a playoff spot at the end of the year. Obviously, it's because they're fighting for the division, and that division's been bad for quite a while, it seems like. But I think they're always fighting, and I think early on in teams in a team season, they're trying to find their identity early on. I think that they'll go back to the run game, and that'll be their identity throughout the season. Derrick Henry and they have a backup running back that's not too bad. He's more of the third down guy. But I feel like they're going to, lean towards that run game and then hit him with the play action. That's what they've been doing the past few seasons. They got D-Hop, who is an elite receiver when he's healthy. They have guys on that offense that aren't bad. I mean, Ryan Tannehill obviously is getting older a bit, but, he can be a good game-managing quarterback. And I think that they do have good pieces on that defense. I think I do agree with you, Matt, though. I don't know. There's not too many I can name. But I feel like that they do have the pieces to maybe make a playoff run. But I think it does come down to the Jaguars and the Texans. And I think, beginning of the year, all of us besides maybe Matt were thinking, it's the Jaguars' division to lose. They brought in some nice pieces. They had a good, start to the season last year. They were in the divisional game last year. I think we all saw T-Law playing great. Good quarterbacks usually make the playoffs. And they have plenty of pieces. They brought in Calvin Ridley, and they have a good solid defense, good coach, and so I think it still is their division to lose. That's gonna be my answer. But I think that these Texans, man, they're right on their backs. I really are. They've surprised me. I really like CJ Stroud coming out from college. I thought he was a really good quarterback. Him being pick number 2 was a great pick for the Texans. I didn't think they were losing that. The thing that's impressed me about the Texans is DeMeco Ryans. I didn't think that they were gonna build this culture already so early on. I thought it was going to take them maybe this year, and it'll go into next year and they'll have a bigger success. But this year has really surprised me in that regard.
Yeah, absolutely. As long as we can continue to develop.
A bit red, like you're blushing.
What?
He's making fun.
I said, Matt, your cheeks are getting a bit red. It looks like you're blushing after all that.
Oh wow! What can I say? No, I agree with everything you said. I think the Jaguars fumble it. I think they're losing their identity as a team.
Very possible.
I think they're fumbling it. I think they're starting to cycle back into a rebuild year. I don't think they have enough pieces on the offense. I think something's up with Trevor Lawrence. He's a good quarterback, but he's not what we've seen in years past.
Last year.
Last year. He played great last year, but I think they lost some pieces that helped him offensively and defensively. And I don't see the rest of the AFC South really developing and progressing the same way Houston is. It seems like Houston comes out, they identify what their mistakes were in that week, and they come out in the next week, and those mistakes are gone. But, the easiest one to recall is sacks. C.J. Stroud hadn't really been sacked since the Ravens game. He took a couple hits against Colts last year. Week 3, come out against Jacksonville. Jacksonville's a heavy blitz team. They like the pressure. They didn't get to CJ this week. TJ Watt, where was he? Who is he? What are they doing? The Steelers are known for their safeties and Minka Fitzpatrick. They got Patrick Peterson. Granted, he's getting a little bit older. Joey Porter Jr. Where were they? They couldn't contain any of our receivers. It's a week to week progression. The Texans, they believe in their product, they believe in their people, and they're producing.
Joey Porter is actually injured, as far as I know. But
is he hurt? No, I didn't think he was. I didn't think he was hurt.
We looked this up last night. Last night I looked this up because me and Vince were talking about
Raiders Steelers game. What?
He's played every game in the regular season.
Yeah. I was going to say, I didn't think he was hurt.
Yeah, Joey Porter played every game in the regular season.
That surprised me, given when I watched Steelers Raiders game. Not only did I not see him, I literally didn't see him. All I saw was Pat Pete and what's the other guy? Can't think of his name right now, but I didn't even see him on the field.
Pat Pete got cooked by Dalton Schultz. He got cooked by Nico. He got cooked by Tank Dell and John Mechie.
He got cooked by
everybody.
Yeah, it seems like
he got cooked by Vince. Vince put on a chef hat.
Now I want to make this public.
You freaking broke his ankle, dude. Week 1.
I want to make this public knowledge so anybody that listens to the podcast. Before the season, me and Matt did have a $10 bet if the Texans make the playoffs. Just want to keep that public. I think that it's only a $10 bet, so nothing flashy. But if they make the playoffs, I owe Matt $10, and that'll be $10 out of my pocket.
Yeah, Texans just proved they develop each week, while the rest of the AFC South kind of stays a little bit more stagnant.
No, like I said, I've just them building that culture so fast is so surprising to me. It seems like good cultured teams find a way to compete regardless if their team is good or not.
Absolutely, and I think this week against Atlanta helps build that culture even more. I think Atlanta's a bad defense. They got a good run game, but that's about it. Houston does good at stopping the run. They're doing good about stopping the pass as well. I think this is even more of a culture morale boosting type week for us.
Mm-hmm. Very possible. Vince, my last question on this subject. Does it worry you that the Colts are 0-2 when Richardson starts the full game?
I don't know about worry me. Obviously would like it to be better, but it's going to be growing pains. We all knew that. He was drafted off a potential of what he could be, not what he is currently. But
I don't know. That just kind of seems like something I'd be worried about because Gardner Minshew is, 2-0.
Yeah, I think they ran the ball. I don't want to misspeak. I'm trying to think, but I think they ran the ball more when Minshew played, like 1 week, a week after Richardson was concussed. Zach Moss had 30 carries.
But what stops them from doing that with Anthony Richardson?
The fact that Anthony Richardson would run the ball himself.
Yeah,
he's doing that. That's less carries.
But you're saying you're worried about his. He needs to progress, growing pains and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Is he throwing 40 times a game? You telling me he can't hand the ball off the same amount of times as Gardner Minshew?
Well, I said the carries would come off the running back because they would go to him. He likes to run. So,
but he's not running 10 times a game. It's not that much different.
10 times his very first game, excuse me. He ran for 10 attempts. And that was why I said what?
Against Jacksonville.
And
it's against Jacksonville. Hand me the ball. I can run against Jacksonville.
I was going to say, yeah. Zach, they would do more read options. Obviously, you have Richardson, and you're going to do read options with Richardson, where you're not even going to attempt that.
But
with,
with Richardson running a read option, that should make the handoff more effective.
Yeah,
exactly. Good. But still, he would keep it sometimes too. So that's, like I said, carries off of Zach Moss. Mm-hmm. But anyway,
I'm going to move on to the Cowboys game. We saw the Cowboys dominate the Patriots. You know, it's not something you usually see out of a Bill Belichick, led team, the Patriots at least. This was the biggest loss in his career, his entire career as a head coach. He lost by the most amount of points, and in his career. And I wanted to bring up something last week, talking about Bill Belichick and how this season has just not been a good season for the Pats. He's getting up there in age, right? You know, what do the Pats do?
I think the next move is replace Mac Jones. I don't think Mac Jones is what they thought he was going to be.
Mm-hmm. I think they. You're asking what do they do, coaching wise, or what do they do just in general?
Just in general. What do you want them to do? What do you see them doing?
Replacing Mac Jones. Bill Belichick is over his BS. Belichick took him out, and when they were asking him about it during the press conference, Bill Belichick's answer was, I didn't see any point in keeping him in the game, so I took him out over and over and over. And if Bill Belichick doesn't see a need for you in that game, your butt's getting kicked out of New England real quick.
Mm-hmm. I almost feel like, and I'm not saying that Bill will never get fired. He's never gonna get fired, even if his team goes 0-17 for 3 years in a row. He won't get fired. He's either going out on his own terms or he is having a heart attack on the field. Those are the only two ways.
He's going until he croaks on the sideline.
He is not playing for the coaching for the Patriots. But if the Patriots, I mean, they've good on the Pats for keeping Mac Jones and trying to progress him. But I thought his rookie, him in Alabama wasn't very good. He dropped to the top 15. I didn't think he was a guy that was gonna build their franchise up. I think they're relying too much on the defense, and I feel like they're neglecting the offense almost. Mm-hmm. And I just don't see what their next move could be without firing everybody, almost. Which is crazy to say, but not Bill Belichick, of course. I'm not saying they should fire Bill Belichick. But I almost feel like for the Patriots, for their franchise to do anything, they just need to completely reset and have a couple tank years. And it's going to be tough with Bill Belichick at the helm.
Yeah, I think what they need to do is they need to replace Mac Jones. It's not going to be with Bailey Zappi. He's not a QB1.
Mm-hmm.
I think, bit of a hot take, I think they would have a better chance by bringing Cam Newton back and turning into a that type of offense that Cam Newton's used to. I don't think dropping him back and having him throw as much as I don't think the way they wanted him to play was really him. He's more of an improviser. But I think they do better by bringing Cam Newton back, honestly, and letting him be Cam. There's a reason why he won an MVP.
I don't know, man. It's 34, 5-year-old Cam. I don't know.
I have a question.
Okay.
Do you think that Bill Belichick can rehabilitate Justin Fields' career?
Ooh, I do. I absolutely do.
I think that he puts him in a much better situation than with the Bears.
Ooh, I didn't even think of that. Yeah, give the Bears a pick in return for Justin Fields.
I was thinking more so like a Kyler Murray, but I do like the Justin Fields idea.
Yeah, I like Justin Fields better in New England than Kyler Murray. I don't think Kyler Murray would be able to commit to the Patriot way.
Oh, you say he can't take a break from gaming? Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, I don't see him buying into the Patriot way. Kyler Murray he's young. Well, I don't want to say it's because he's young, because Justin Fields is young too.
He's younger, yeah.
Yeah, he's younger. I don't know. Kyler Murray's personality, he just doesn't do it for me,
I might be misspeaking. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dwight. But yeah, I agree with that. I think Kyler Murray is going to do his own thing.
I don't disagree. I think that when you have a coach like Bill Belichick, though, I mean, you wanna try to follow that guy. Because who has Kyler Murray's coach has been like? We're talking about Cliff Kingsbury, right? Who's more of like a energetic type dude, and we have Rich Gannon now, who doesn't seem more like a strict coach. I don't feel like he's had a strict coach. Is what I'm trying to say.
He hasn't had direction and structure.
Mm-hmm.
Was he there with the Arians?
Bruce Arians? No.
An Arians coach?
No, because if he had Bruce Arians, you get a square cut. You take that square cut out, you're getting that square. Bruce Arians is a lot like Bill Belichick when it comes to structure.
And I'm going to say this is not a Cardinal. I don't want to talk about the Cardinals too much here, but I actually want to say I think the Cardinals are another team that are starting to go in the right direction. It's not like a super. They're not running up the mountain or whatnot, but I feel like they are actually starting to slowly make an increase. They're fighting with guys like Joshua Dobbs, and I think that's something to look forward to for if you're a Cardinal fan.
I think the Cardinals are actually sneakily like decent team.
Yeah, I know that's what I'm saying.
I don't think they're tanking. I don't think they're tanking this year. No signs show like they're actually progressively trying to lose games.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like they're out there fighting. I mean, they're going against some hard teams, and they beat the Cowboys, and they did all right against the Niners, but like their team isn't that bad.
Mm-hmm.
They have a young roster, and I don't think they're tanking.
Right. Well, that's why I said I don't want to talk too much about the Cardinals. I just want to say I think they're going in the right direction with the move that they've made, new GM, new head coach. So good on the Cardinals. That's all I wanted to say. But yeah, back to the Pats. I don't know. I agree. Mac Jones is definitely not the answer at quarterback. I don't think Cam Newton is the answer at quarterback either. I'm gonna disagree with you on that one. I don't think they're gonna have a high enough pick to draft one of the better quarterbacks. But like I said, this is a quarterback heavy draft, and I think the Pats are a team that probably could develop a quarterback better than some others. Mac Jones wasn't one that they could develop into something elite, but
Sanders to New England.
Who? Shador?
Shador to New England.
Shador to New England. I think they could probably get somebody. They could probably get somebody else. But I don't. Yeah, I don't think Shador fits that system either. But yeah.
No, he doesn't. But it's fun to think about.
It is fun to think about, and I'm curious to see where Shador will go. But I think the Pats have issues this year. I feel like they're gonna be 8-9 or 8-9. They'll have an okay record because they are still the Pats at the end of the day. But that doesn't help them for the future.
Right.
And their division's only getting tougher.
Yeah, especially with Miami and Buffalo.
Mm-hmm. And then the other side of the ball, or other side of that game, the Cowboys looked good, and we talked about them having a bounce back game. It doesn't surprise me. It's a little surprising that it's against the Patriots. The Patriots defense, who has played pretty well this season. But I mean, like, it's the Cowboys. They're, like I said, they're gonna be in the playoffs. I mean, they'll probably lose in the first, second round, but they're gonna be there. They had a good game. Defense played fantastic.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. This is the defense put them into a winning position,
and it very well could be.
Yeah, their offense really didn't do like a whole lot. It was just the defensive scores that really put the score out there.
Yeah,
I think the Cowboys' offense is just kind of the same how it always is. I think their defense obviously played exceptionally well against the Patriots Patriots offense.
Mm-hmm.
The Patriots defense obviously wasn't the fault that they got blown out.
I don't think that the Trevon Diggs injury is as big as it seems to be. I watched DeRon Bland go for 6, and he's I think, what was the stat? He had 2 picks in that game. He now leads the league in interceptions, from where he was drafted. So since he's been drafted, he's led the league in interceptions with 8. Which I feel like that stat changes every time. I feel like I see a new person own that stat, but still.
Yeah, it seems like he's stepping up and he's doing what he needs to do.
Mm-hmm.
Last year was, I think, J.C. Jackson who owned that stat. So, yeah, it changes a lot.
It seems. Well, no. So the stat is from when they were drafted, right? So J.C. Jackson might have been drafted before him. So it still might be J.C. Jackson for that, is what I'm saying. Since Deron Bland has been drafted, he leads the league in that time span. But yeah, they're not missing the interception production of Trevon Diggs, is what I'm saying. I think that defense isn't losing much. I think it, to Elmo's point a couple weeks ago, it's the offensive line. That's been their biggest injuries, but they're still 3-1. They lost to a Cardinals team, trap game or whatnot. Cardinals fought hard. They won that game. I think we just need to see.
They had everyone back except for Aaron Smith on the offensive line. They had everyone else back this past week.
Yeah.
And they won.
Aaron Smith gets injured every year. He's got injured like every year. I want to say like the past 5 years is what it seems like, but yeah.
This Cowboys team, and you guys might find this kind of crazy. I think the Cowboys team has the tools to win a Super Bowl. I feel like they have the tools every year to win a Super Bowl. So I'm not.
Take it easy.
No, I know. That's why I say, you guys can, I can understand this. But they have the best defense in the league. I'm going to say, I think they have the best defense in the league. The Niners
they definitely have the
are
tools,
up there.
but can Dak Prescott take them to the Super Bowl?
Absolutely.
They have the tools. He has the tools around him to take him there, but can he himself rile this team up to actually make it far in the playoffs?
And here's the thing. With the Cowboys right now. Exactly. I think this defense is the best iteration of defenses they've had. And I think that they need to be able to score in the end zone or the red zone. That's their biggest issue right now. They have only like 1 touchdown in the red zone or 0. They might have 0 touchdowns in the red zone. They're really struggling in the red zone, and it's because of Zeke, which is crazy enough to say. I'm saying a lot of crazy things right now. The reason that they can't score in the red zone is because of Zeke. They don't have that guy that can pound it in for 2 yards. Pause. But they just don't have that kind of guy that can get in the red zone.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
So I think that they're a team that will make a trade. Obviously, they made a trade for Trey Lance. But I feel like they're a team that probably will make a trade. I don't know if it's going to be a meaningful trade. But they'll bring somebody in that'll help their offense out. And I just don't know who that piece is. And if it's going to make a big difference.
I think they do get tested this upcoming week going against the Niners offense.
Absolutely.
Really test to see how that defense plays. And obviously, I think kind of see how good the Cowboys actually are with a healthy team.
Well, here's what I've been hearing. I've been hearing that the Cowboys want to be a pass-happy team. They want to be a pass-first team. They don't want to run. And what I'm hearing is that the reason that they're not being a pass-happy team is because they're going up by so much. Obviously, not against the Cardinals, but they're going up by so much, so they don't have to pass the football. Against the Niners, they're going to have to pass the football. And I think that's where we're going to see what this Cowboys team becomes. If they can pass on the Niners, and the Niners don't have a great secondary, but their secondary is not horrendous, and they have a great pass rush, the Niners do. I think this is gonna teach us a lot about the Cowboys. Offensively. Defensively, they'll be fine. Offensively, it's going to teach us a lot about the offense. Big, you want to talk about the Cowboys?
Nah, I don't have anything to say about that. I think that they beat the hell out of a bad Patriots team. Yeah, I mean, there's not much you can say about that.
Okay. Well, that's everything I got to say about the Cowboys-Patriots game.
That's everything I got.
Okay, Vince, what's the top matchup for the Week 5 matchups? What do you got?
It's kind of close between two. It's either Cowboys Niners, like we've already mentioned, or Eagles and Rams.
I mean, I think that the Eagles and Rams, I don't know, because the Rams haven't shown me much other than that Niners game. Like, they really haven't played, the way I thought they were going to be playing this season. I thought, I had them on a higher pedestal than what they've been playing at since that Niners game. I think the Eagles are the Eagles. I mean, they can play bad and still win these games. So I don't know. I don't know if that's really a test. Is it in Philadelphia?
I don't know. I guess I should have asked when Cooper Kupp comes back first before I said that, but
it's in Los Angeles, but I don't know how much of a difference it makes. It's only a 1:00 game. I don't know.
I don't think Cooper Kupp really going to make a difference against the Eagles.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think
he does come back.
And I
I
do
got a couple.
and I do think I think we're all gonna say this, but I think the Cowboys and Niners. I think that is the game of the week.
Mhm.
It is Sunday night
Yep.
football, so it is it's gonna be on prime time, which does help both teams' case if they play well or play bad.
Yeah, I think the Vikings and Chiefs are going to be a good game. I think that's where they're going to. I think both teams are going to find a little bit of identity. The Vikings, they need to figure something out, and I also think the Chiefs need to figure out what's going on with them as a tool. Granted, they are winning, but they're playing sloppy, and I think that's going to be an opportunity for them to tighten things up. And I think the Bengals game, I think that's an identity finding game as well. I think it's an important game for them.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think it is an important game because like we've said, the Cardinals are fighting hard, but at the same time they still don't have that talent. The Bengals have the
Right.
talent, but aren't fighting as hard. So I think this is really what we find out about both teams.
Yep, I'm with you. I think Texans and Falcons. That's a feel good game for us. Actually, you know what? I don't want to say that because I don't want to rule out the Falcons. I don't think they're a terrible team. I think they're trying to figure out their identity. I think that's going to be a game that shows Houston that their progression, that they continue to go in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they pass on the Texans, but I do think it'll just be Bijan running down your throat. But
We've been stopping the run, so
I think the Falcons' defense is underrated.
right.
Well, I only said that because you said that the Falcons' defense isn't very good earlier. I think it's an underrated defense. I don't know. I don't think it's a top 10, but I think a top 15 maybe slides in there.
I think the Falcons' problem is just their quarterback.
Desmond
I
Ritter.
agree.
Yeah.
A lot of people,
Yeah, I don't think
a lot of
he's
Falcons
doing
fans,
very good.
especially, were saying Desmond Ritter's the truth, and clearly he's not the truth. That was the wrong answer.
That was a lie.
So I don't know. I think the games that I'm interested
And
to
now
see.
you're getting big, old Pinocchio.
I think the games that I get you, Vince. I think the games that I'm kind of looking forward to. I won't say the Ravens Steelers game, because that's my biased answer. I think that my non-biased answer is going to be the Jags and the Bills in the UK. This is a game that usually the Jags play well, and they play really well in the UK. They just were in the UK last week, won that game, but destroyed the Falcons. I don't think they're going to beat the Bills like that, but I think this is a game that they can win because they have the talent, and if they do win, it's going to show us a lot about them. Like I said, they are still the team to beat in the South. Is it going to be an easy win? Absolutely not. The Bills are going to play them all 4 quarters, and it's going to be a tough game. But I can see the Jaguars maybe winning this one.
I don't know. I think that game gets ugly.
And it very well could be. But I think this is a game the Jags have a chance, surprisingly.
The Bills are coming off of a dominant victory against a much better team. So I don't see Jacksonville winning, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's not a bad take at all. I think that the Titans and Colts are another game. We just talked about both teams being 2-2. I think the Titans, like I said, are figuring out their identity, and the Colts defense, I said, was decent. I think that the Titans can show a lot of people that they still are a team that might sneak into the playoffs, or the Colts can prove that they can win with Anthony Richardson. I think either can be shown there, and then obviously the Cowboys and Niners. I won't talk about that anymore. I do want to see. I had one more game. Where is it at? Oh, the Broncos and the Jets. I think Russell Wilson is getting a bad rap because of last year. A lot of people are still thinking about last year's Russell Wilson. He's played really good this year. People might not think that, but he has. And Sean Payton is a coach that's not used to losing like this. Obviously, he had Drew Brees, which might be the reason why. But I think Russ is playing well. I think that they have players on offense. Their defense might be the worst defense in the league. It's playing really bad. But the Jets' offense is not great, and I think we get to see a underrated Broncos offense against a really good Jets team, and I think the Broncos can show me personally some things, or the Jets can win, and that they have a chance to make the playoffs. One of the two.
Yeah, not a bad take.
So we got Matt Elmo, game of the week. What you got?
I mean, obviously Niners, Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
Not really. I mean, I do feel like the Bengals Cardinals one might be pretty good to kind of see what the heck's up with the Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
If the Bengals keep playing like they are, I feel like the Cardinals. I think like the Cardinals win that game. But other than that, just Niners Cowboys. See what I mean. Cowboys beating up on bad teams like they usually do. Let's see how they do against an actual good team.
Mhm.
Okay, Bill. Bill.
my pick.
Okay, Bill. Okay, Big.
Okay, Bill.
Okay, Big. Okay, Big. You got any games?
Of course, my Eagles. Of course, I'm excited to see that game. Love to see how that's going to turn out. I think the Niners and the Cowboys game is going to be a very interesting game.
Mm-hmm.
I think that game is going to really, where's that game going to be played at? Is it in
Los
Dallas?
Angeles. Oh wait, the Cowboys game. Oh,
Cowboys
the Eagles.
game. Cowboys.
It is being played in San Fran.
Okay, so it's gonna make Brock Purdy grow up. It's gonna show us what Dak Prescott actually is. People like to sound to say he's the top 5 quarterback. Can he go into this game and not turn the ball over when they need him? Can guys like Deron Bland actually, play a team that's not down, meaning they're not in a situation where they're forced to throw the football and they can, control the football and the clock a little bit more. So I'm excited to see those games. I would love to see the Buffalo game as well. So, it's gonna be a good week for football.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right. Well, I think that is the podcast. Do you guys have any closing statements? Anything you want to say?
Fly Eagles, fly, baby.
The only thing I want to say, closing statement: Lamar, stop fumbling. That's it. That's all I gotta say.